Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 20th February meeting, the February meeting of the Hong Kong Study Circle and Hong Kong Philatelic Society. It's good to see so many of you coming to the meeting, and I'm honored to have a few volunteers to present something for our members. Of course, please remember our meeting is sponsored by the Federation of Inter-Asia Philately, and yes, and they have been sponsoring us for a few years now. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Dr. Prakop, who's the president, and also the secretary Jasmine for arranging the meetings. Right. Anyway, and yes, I'm sharing my screen. You can see with you three items which I will discuss at later, because I'm sure that I like Duncan and Susan to start first, because they've got something to present. All right. So if I stop sharing, Duncan or Susan? Would you like to do it?
Susan, it will be.
He will
You
be
volunteered me to be first.
Okay. Why don't you kick off first? Okay. So I'll stop sharing. Right. Okay. Fire away.
Beginning. There we go. All right. It's a bit of a puzzle. This is a very short PowerPoint about a postal stationery card sent during the Box Rebellion period. It's not working. Now here we go. You can see it's a 4 cents on 3 cents Queen Victoria reply card. And it was sent 1900, 2nd of November 1900, by Austrian Lloyds of Hong Kong. And it was addressed to a chief engineer on board an Austrian man of war, the SMS Maria Teresa. And it was thought to be in Taku, Japan. This is the ship. Its English name, which is much easier, is Empress and Queen Maria Teresa. And it was in the Far East, trying to help suppress the Boxer Rebellion 1900 to 1902. Now, unfortunately, whoever was doing some sorting at one point thought that it was going to a ship belonging to Austrian Lloyds in Japan. And it has got the Austrian Lloyds cachet here with Bakan, Japan. But somebody's written on for Austrian man of war, not Austrian Lloyds. They've crossed out Taku and put Kobe, Japan. And then they've also put return to Kobe, and it looks to be in a slightly different writing. The only date stamp that we have on the front here is Kobe, 23rd of November, which is 3 weeks after it was posted. So it's difficult to try and work out exactly what has happened to it, other than it's gone to Austrian Lloyds, whether it's been back and forth, whether it was the Austrian Lloyds who crossed out Taku, whether it's been back and forward from Kobe to Taku or not. It's not clear at all, that. The post office ran out of room to put on their bits and pieces, so they stuck on the tissue paper, and there are various, appear to be date stamps and 1 or 2 other items added. Now, I got a Japanese lady to have a look at it, but she said a lot of it was what she thought of as old Japanese characters she didn't know. And the only thing she could translate was return to Toyome Moji at 25th of November 23 and second ship. Well, the 25th of November makes sense. That's a couple of days after the other Kobe arrival, but not the rest. So if anybody here speaks or can read the Japanese, now's the time to speak up. It was obviously a real problem trying to find this ship, because in desperation, they stuck another piece of paper on top, and in blue crayon written, "Try British Consul." So whether it has eventually found the ship or not, I don't know. But it's a bit of a puzzle as to why they couldn't find the ship and what all these markings may mean. Well, I thought people might be interested in having a look at it.
Yes.
So there we go.
Well, we do have a new Japanese member who could help you with it. As far as I know, actually a lot of the writings are actually kanji. It's a Chinese character. Yeah. But of course, the Chinese characters actually have a different meaning in Japanese. When they read it, you see all these characters are Chinese characters, really. I mean, I can read it, but does it mean what it means? I mean, the date, okay, fine, no problem, and you can see they use the Chinese characters for the date. But of course, if the Japanese would have pronounced it differently, of course. But sometimes when you have the two letters together, it might have a different meaning in Japanese than, and you can't interpret it as Chinese. Maybe I think maybe Simon or John, who actually they collect Japanese post offices. They might have some idea what these. Well, I know the big letter right in the middle one. I don't know. You can't see my arrow, of course. This is a office or something.
Right.
DLO or something like that. Or that's an office or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I'm sure that our Hosaka-san, he has actually some query that he wants us to solve, that he might actually. He's not here, but of course he'll probably see your presentation, and he might get in touch with you. All right. So
right. Okay.
This is all about. But this is very interesting that the Japanese actually have a lot of this tissue paper, like instructional marking, redirection.
Yes, they were keen on it, weren't they? I think.
Yeah. They stuck it on the card. How was it stuck, and how did you remove it? Was it just loosely attached, or?
I haven't removed it. I've folded it back.
Oh, okay.
So that's just stuck on top. It just amused me, sheer desperation, try the British consul.
So this is the second piece of paper?
That's the second piece of paper, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was the first piece, and this is the second piece. And you folded both back to, okay, right.
Yeah, you with me? Yeah.
Yep. Well, it definitely sounds like a redirection. And then maybe finally ended up in the British is it British consulate?
The British consul.
Consul. Why is a German ship in the British consul?
I don't know.
It might know where the naval vessels were.
But oh well.
It looks like the writing "Return to Kobe" is the same as Austrian man of war, not Austrian.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? But
So it's gone from Kobe to Austrian Lloyd's, and they've put "Return to Kobe."
Yeah.
The second time it's gone to Kobe, they've scratched their heads and gone, "Try British consul." It's a lovely postcard, actually.
Yeah, but it started off at Taku Fort, didn't it? I think.
So what happened? What happened? Do you think this actually gone to? Was it actually delivered? Or?
I don't know. There's no.
You better hope so, because the ship was probably waiting for the missing part.
Yeah. I think the Maria Teresa is quite a famous German.
But it was it was one of the big ships.
It's Austrian.
Austro-Hungarian.
That's right. That's right. So I mean, it's not difficult to find it, you know. And,
no. I mean, it was out. I found details of it out in 1900, 1902.
yeah,
And it was in a battle in 1900 at Taku Fort. Yeah, so
all right.
Perhaps it was after parts to do repair damage. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. That's
right. Stop sharing.
Can you also comment on the? Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Can I go back to the card again? Your card?
Yeah, I'm good. Which one, Andrew?
No, this one. This one. Yeah. No, I just noticed something interesting about the overprint. The 4 cent. Oh, it's a 3 cent.
It's a 3 cent reply card with 4 cents on.
Is it a reply card? Is this a reply card?
The reply card. You can look at the top. There's a bit of a.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it was actually used as a just a postcard?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, the 4 cent period. Of course, the postage have gone to 4 cents, and the 3 cent cards were all redundant. Yeah.
Yeah. They're using up old cards rather than getting new ones.
It's quite interesting that the overprint, the 4 cent overprint, could be at any angle.
Yeah, it's going up. It's not going down.
Yeah, it's going up. It's going down.
Going down ones are not as common, are they?
Have you by chance seen any horizontal overprint?
No, I haven't.
It's always at an angle, right?
Yeah.
I just wonder because it's angle up or angle down. Okay, but have you actually seen any applied horizontally?
No, I haven't.
Well, yours is quite close to that because I've seen some at the like a 60 degree angle or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. Any thoughts? Anybody? Well, maybe you can get a feedback. From other members.
Yeah.
Like Vincent, with somebody, as you say, there are a lot of people. If you go to the feedback, if you go to the replay, and you can actually see there's over 100 people actually watch the YouTube the presentation. So I suppose that people can't afford the time during the live session. And then they go to the replay and they suddenly thought something. Anyhow, great. That's great. Right. So maybe we go to Duncan. You.
Right. This is almost don't believe what you see or are told. In 1935, Imperial Airways sent an aircraft out to Penang to begin a series of survey flights between there and Hong Kong prior to opening up a regular feeder service. I think I have to say at the start, it wasn't what the British airline wanted. They wanted to actually operate a feeder from Bangkok to Hong Kong, but the Thai authorities would not agree terms with them, and they therefore went to Penang as a way of putting pressure on the authorities in Thailand to rethink their position. Quite, it took nearly 2 years before they did rethink it, but the Times newspaper announced that this is 16th of September, that once it was in Penang, the aircraft would operate survey flights to Hong Kong and it would carry mail. In fact, that is not the case. I owe a big thank you to Peter Wingen to put me in the direction of the Imperial Airways movement charts. These are enormous graph sheets, sort of 3 or 4 feet in each direction, in which they recorded daily the movement of all their aircraft and where they were. And the September 35 sheet shows that Dorado, the aircraft, left Croydon on the 16th of September. It had quite an interesting journey out to Penang, because it was damaged landing at Karachi at night on the 21st. It had to be repaired overnight. And next day it was struck by a vulture, which led to an emergency landing at Jhansi, and delays until spare parts were flown out from Karachi to Jhansi, and the aircraft was able to continue. And in fact, it was the 30th of September when it reached Penang, and not the 24th of September, which the Times had anticipated. Once there, then the movement charts for November, December, right through to the following February do list the survey flights, and they're shown there. They weren't by and large hurrying. They were testing out the state of the aerodromes in Indochina. Some were notoriously bad in wet weather. So they were quite leisurely survey flights until the 25th of October one, when they flew through in one day. It was a very long day if you tried to do Penang, Hong Kong in one day, but the pilot, in his autobiography, Captain Armstrong, said that one-day flight was to carry the mail that had just arrived in Penang from London. But if you look at the covers, as I'm going to show a little bit later, I think his memory was failing him when he wrote his book. He carried out the first 6 flights in each direction, then he went back to the UK. He was then posted to Bermuda to start a service from there to New York. But, John Locke took over for the later flights and the flights in 1936. Right, the covers are coming up. There's a couple of pictures there from Shell Aviation News, one showing Dorado at the new Penang airport, and the other showing an aerial view of the airport. In fact, the aircraft arrived on the 30th of September, the day after it had opened. So it's one of the very first commercial users. Second bit from the Shell Aviation News showing Dorado at Hong Kong, and a airport from 1937, which was in Ted Proud's estate. I think what's most surprising is the length of runways was only 1,300 yards at its longest. It did have a waterfront position, so later on the American flying boats, the Pan Am ones, could use the civilian slipway there. Right. This is the first of the covers that purports to be carried on a survey flight, and this is the mail that was dispatched from London on the 24th of September. It was also the first service to extend from Calcutta to Singapore midweek. And the sender certainly thought it was going to be carried on the 2nd of October flight, but that is not the case. And again, big thank you to Richard Whittington here, because it was his researchers in the Hong Kong newspapers that found the Hong Kong Post Office announcement that said that the mail that had left London on the 24th of September arrived in Hong Kong on the JCJ steamer Kramer on the 8th of October. And this cover is clearly backstamped the 8th of October. It then went to the return letter office and was eventually sent back to London by surface, and there is a London arrival for the 21st of November there. So although it was sold as, and they still are sold as, survey flight covers, they weren't actually flown. The same applies to this one, intended for the 3rd survey flight. And this is the one where the pilot said he did carry mail, but where the post office says quite categorically it didn't. The Hong Kong Post Office said the mail from IE 384, which is the Imperial Airways flight number. IE is simply India eastbound, and it's the 384th flight of that. That the mail arrived in Hong Kong on the P&O Corfu on the 30th of October, and again, correctly backstamped then, both in Kowloon and Victoria. W.E. Jones, he was involved, I think, with the Hong Kong Post Office. He was certainly involved later with the, I think, the designs of one of the post-war stamps, but said he's getting the covers because Francis Field, the British Air Philatelic dealer, used him as his agent. This is an attempt by the 4th survey flight. Again, it arrived on time in Penang to be carried on the 1st of November flight, but the backstamps show it arrived in Hong Kong on the 5th, and the Hong Kong Post Office says the mail came on the blue funnel liner Agapanor, and again, the backstamps confirm that. Moving into 1936, an attempt here to send mail from Burma to Hong Kong via Penang. It certainly was in Penang. There's a Penang backstamp for the 12th of February there, but it wasn't followed by the survey flight because that reached Hong Kong on the 13th. On the 15th. This didn't reach Hong Kong until the 19th. And again, it fits in with the arrival of the P&O liner Corfu. As far as the covers go, an attempt to send a cover from Hong Kong by a survey flight in March 1936, but this is wishful thinking at best. There is a manuscript endorsement at the bottom right saying last experimental flight before opening of service. I'm almost certain that it's written in Francis Field's handwriting. P.C. Lee is quite well known for mail covers in this period, and I assume it was through arrangement with Francis Field. The trouble is, when this was posted, Dorado left Hong Kong in February, flew back to Penang, and was then sent to Singapore for major servicing before the opening of the regular service. So at the date this was posted, there simply wasn't an aircraft that could have flown it. Instead, it went from Hong Kong on the Rawalpindi and connected in Singapore with IW425. That's India westbound as opposed to the IE India eastbound. Imperial Airways announced the first service is starting in March. It's also, in the last paragraph there, makes it very clear it wasn't prepared to handle mail for collectors. In the late 20s, early 30s, they were very keen to encourage collectors' mail, but by now they've got more than enough work to do, and they don't want to be sending covers back to people in the UK, etc., etc. And basically, if you send it to them, they'll bin it, is the message. Finally, a couple of covers. A cover by the last service where mail went to Singapore by air and then was sent on by sea, addressed to Mr. Curtis in the Peninsula Hotel. He was the Imperial Airways manager and their office was in the Peninsula Hotel. And finally, first dispatch by the first feeder service, actually posted at Croydon Aerodrome Post Office, and left the UK on the 14th of March, reached Hong Kong on the 23rd. So almost beware what you're buying if you're trying to buy survey flight covers. They ain't what they say they are.
How many of these covers are known?
Well, at one stage, a lot of dealers seem to have examples. I presume there's a few hundred of them. Certainly on the ones addressed to W.E. Jones seem to be relatively common.
Well, you think there's I mean, maybe like 30, 40 or more?
I would think so. I mean, if he's doing it in relation with Francis Field, the dealer, that's probably what he was acquiring for stock.
Yeah.
And once he's got them, Francis Fear was very cagey what information he shared. He didn't share information that would do him out of selling something.
Yeah.
He was a bit unscrupulous, I gather. These are the ones that I often saw, though they seem to have dried up a bit. Perhaps they've been absorbed by the market. It's just they're not what people think they are. They were attempts at, but Richards found quite clear evidence that they were sent on by sea from Singapore.
Well, what's the survey mean? I mean, is experimental, or does it mean that? Or?
No, they were essentially checking that all the facilities were in place to operate a regular service. So they're checking wireless communications, weather forecasting, the surface of the runways, because a lot of these were earth runways, and certainly some of the ones in Indochina just didn't stand up to bad weather.
Are they just checking whether the runway, whether it's actually suitable, or?
Yeah, and that they have the right navigation aids and the rest of it along the route.
Yeah. Duncan, can you go back to the first photograph of Penang? You had a photograph with Penang. No, this one. Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
You can see that at the bottom photo, there seems to be some smoke there at the middle of the aircraft. Is that just someone having a barbecue, or just a smoke signal or something?
I don't know whether it's a barbecue or whether it was an indicator to the pilots of the wind direction. They sometimes set up smoke flare to show wind direction because it would affect the way they landed.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they have any lights or anything. No,
they weren't expecting night landings.
Yeah.
It would be unusual to carry out a night landing at this time.
Yeah. But that's before the day of the radar, right? Yeah.
Oh, yes, it's very much before. But they usually hope to have radio bearings, enough radio stations to get 3 bearings so they could fix the position that way.
Indeed.
Or at least
and then you could, and the airfield is pretty primitive. It's just like like a cricket pitch.
It does actually have by the look of it, a paved runway, which was quite unusual for the time.
Right. Interesting. Good. Yeah, you do actually see some of these covers with Frankfurt British stamps now and then, maybe on eBay or.
Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, and you do actually see some of these covers maybe sometimes on eBay, or and but I think they all say, oh, it's a first flight or something like that. By the.
I mean, I do collect incoming mail to Hong Kong by Imperial Airways, but they aren't easy to find.
No.
Having found them, though, not many people seem to want to bid against me. So it's
yeah.
I don't think they're too popular in Hong Kong. I don't think incoming mail.
I think most people actually collect outgoing rather than incoming. Yeah, because at least they like seeing a Hong Kong stamp on things rather than But anyway, it's most interesting, and I think you should actually collect both ways because I mean you would have arrival markings like that, and
I certainly try.
You should collect both ways. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any further questions from everybody? No. Right. Okay. So, anybody's got anything to say? Vincent, you got something to show? No, not this time.
Not this time, unfortunately.
All right. Okay. And Philippe, welcome.
Oh, sorry, I am late. I had to go to the airport, but besides that,
what's that thing on your neck? You got something on your neck?
It's a scarf. It's very cold.
Oh, it's a scarf. Right.
It's minus 10 degrees C in Dallas today.
Okay.
So it's very, very, very cold. So
where are you now? You're in US or in France?
In US, yes.
You're in the US. Right.
In
Does
Texas,
it get that cold?
very cold in Texas today.
Ah, right. Okay. All right.
Very
Okay.
unusual, but just a note on. I saw this postcard on this plane there that you are showing, and it happened that in my previous life years ago, I jumped in parachute from this plane.
Oh.
It has a back door, and to jump in parachute from it, you had to go out of the door, climb on the wing, because if you were jumping directly from the back door, you would be caught by the stabilizer, the rear stabilizer. So you had to get out, climb on the wing, move away from the fuselage, and jump. So it was a pretty scary experience.
I won't be repeating it. Yes.
How many times have you done it?
Twice.
Oh, twice. Oh, God. All right. When was that?
In France, near Paris.
Well, no. When? I mean.
When?
What year?
It was in 64. 1964.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So the parachutes were a little bit primitive compared to nowadays. Were they?
It obviously worked, though, Andrew.
Yes, you could not direct it.
Yes, it worked.
You're right. Because you were there, you jump, and you hope that you were landing. So that's
no, more like a kind of World War II kind of parachute rather than the modern ones where you can actually navigate with like sailing a plane or something. Yeah.
No. That's
all right.
not
Anyway. You won't like to do it again.
I will do it. We'll do it again.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So, all right. I'd like to share something with you. Let me see. Slide. Okay. Right. So as you can see, can you see?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. You can. Right. Okay. So there are some items that I'm going to say something about. Okay, so we start with the first slide. Okay, now this is actually by a new member, Yoshio Hosaka-san. Okay, he's from Japan, and he says that he's starting, well, he's a beginner, and he's interested in Hong Kong and also the history of Hong Kong too. So I believe that he collects kind of postal histories and maybe a bit of Opium War and things like that. So this is actually a letter. You probably would be quite familiar with what this is. I mean, because there are quite a number of similar items sent to Bombay from Hong Kong, and the content is usually about sailing of opium by Jardine Matheson. As you can see from the bottom here, Jardine Matheson was an opium dealer, of course, in those days, and quoting all kinds of prices about the Mawa opium or other types of opium, and you can actually see Mawa opium. Okay. So and about the prices, and obviously opium was grown in India, and they were exported it to Hong Kong and then China at the time. This is an 1854 letter, a paid letter with a small crown paid at Hong Kong, and with a 2 shilling mark, which is a double rate. The rate actually was reduced to how was it? Four penny, I think, later on in 1856. But this was before that. It was a shilling to all the colonies, and you can see actually it's a very red without oxidation. Some of these marks, if the letter was not kept properly, it could oxidize into a brownish color, which I'll show you an example. Unfortunately, the back stamp here is a Hong Kong back stamp, which looks like is a type 9, web type 9, and maybe a Bombay arrival. It's not so clear, but he's asking, what is this? There's some manuscript, which I don't know, is probably some Indian, maybe, is it Persian or whatever? I don't know. He's asking, can I read? I'm afraid I can't. So maybe if somebody who look at our presentation could tell us what actually these two, what script this is. Is it some kind of Indian type of script, and what does it say at the bottom? Well, if this is in English, you can read it. It's about. But the interesting thing is here, inside the letter it says per Malta, a P&O Malta, and then on the letter it says per Peking. Both of them are P&O ships. But actually, if you check up, I don't know why they put Peking there. Maybe they thought that maybe the letter would be too late for Malta or something, and they put it on the ship's name. But this is, if you looked up the date in Kirk, the letter was actually carried by the Malta, P&O Malta, this is the P&O Malta actually sailed on the 6th of June. The letter was written on the 3rd of June. So that at least that's partially explained what Hosaka-san want to know. The rest, I think, maybe as somebody who knows the Indian script could answer what that is all about. All right, okay. So we move on to the next. Now this is.
Hey, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Just on that, I have Kirk right in front of me, and it actually shows Peking as departing Hong Kong on June 6th.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, but I think he really needs to go maybe to like one of the newspapers that would show the Bombay arrivals.
Yeah. That's right.
Because it's not clear whether the mail will have gone further than Galle to Bombay or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, because it is pity that both the back stamps are not entirely clear. So anyhow, maybe the letter itself could be very good, but the scan's not so clear to me. So maybe he could show us a better scan. All right, okay. So we go to next one. Now this is actually, I don't know whether you've noticed this. This one actually was on I think was on eBay some time ago. Looks like a very simple letter and not too interesting, but there are some very interesting features about this folded letter, which was it's written in Italian, and it's actually the letter itself. You can actually see the letter. You can see the letter. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you could read Italian, and you could decipher what it's all about. But anyhow, well, it's state line in Italian from Victoria, which is Victoria City of Victoria in Hong Kong, on July the 24th, 1846. Okay. To a guy called P. Cerruti. Okay, I'll say something about this guy later. And then actually, it's interesting that it's addressed to the Consulate General of, it says Consulate General de SM Sada. So well, what's that all about? So if you actually looked up. SM actually is Italian called Sua Maestra. There is His Majestic. Sorry about my Italian. The Sarda is actually a short for, it's a Sardinian. It means it's Sardinian. So it's actually, it actually sent to the Consul General of Sardinia. which is a big island just south of Corsica, which I'm sure Philippe will tell you all about that. And then it's actually the letter was actually sent to Alexandria in Egypt with a Web Type 9 CDS on the back and nothing else. There's no Alexandria arrival. Alexandria at that time would have some similar broken ring hand stamp like that as arrival on some letters. Okay, many letters. Okay, so this was actually carried by the P&O Braganza, which was one of the two ships that inaugurated the Galle to Hong Kong line from September 1845. The other one is, of course, is the famous Lady Mary Wood, but Braganza is the second ship that ran the line. So they had a monthly service between Galle and Hong Kong. So the P&O Braganza left Hong Kong on the 25th of July. So the actual letter was actually posted the day before the departure of the ship, so that's why you have the 24th of July. So if you look up Kirk actually didn't say anything after Galle, but actually, if you look up Scamp, the FMC, the Far East Mail Ship Itinerary book, actually Scamp did a bit more research and maybe in the Lloyd's list or something like that, and he actually found out that the P&O precursor sailed from Calcutta, pick up the mail from Galle to Aden, and then he went to Egypt, arrived in September the 9th. There's no arrival date stamp. But interestingly, also, if you look up the Kirk's book, this is actually the earliest recorded date of the CDS in the day and month configuration, and also with the serif letters. Okay, but the previous one is June the 17th is a sans serif month configuration, the same stamp. So they must have used this kind of date stock and month stock for this letter. But why? Question number one is why is there no arrival marking of Alexandria? Okay. The other thing is, if you notice that there's the box paid. I think the box paid, the hand stamp was only used. There were two periods of the box paid. The first period was about 1845 to 1846. It was only used for about a year. And before they actually changed to the crowned paid, of course, you've got the large crown and the small crown paid hand stamps. And this was only used for about a year and something. And it's often poorly struck because it's supposed to be a double-lined hand stamp, but very often you get ink clogging up and it ended up with like a single-line boxed marking. Now, the other thing is the rate. This is actually, as I say, it's an oxidized 2-string 3. I mean, it should be in red because it's paid. Okay, I'll come to that later, but it's quite interesting, this rate. Okay, so well, let's go to the interesting the history of the letter. Is a Consolato Generale di Sua Mastra Re di Sardinia, is the king, really the king in Sardinia in Alexandria, Egypt. Okay, so it roughly is translated as the Consulate of the Kingdom of Sardinia in Alexandria of Egypt, which was established in 1825 to 1860 when it became the empire became Italy. Okay, the United Italy. So the history was quite complex with various and provinces and kingdoms and rulers and things like that. So that this is actually the map or a sketch of the plan, the floor plan of the consulate. Now look at the flag here. Actually, this is the flag. This is the flag of the Kingdom of Sardinia, okay, which was 1832 to 1848, and ruled by the House of Savoy, formed by merging the flags of, well, there are three flags. There's Savoy, Sardinia, and Genoa. Okay, so and the first ruling council was installed in October, and the district includes all the territories subjected to the viceroys in Egypt and the islands of Crete and adjacent islands. So, and you see, that guy is actually called Paolo Cerruti. I don't know, this is actually the proper spelling, maybe that was this mistake, left out an R. And who was actually the third consul, following Pedemonte and Imperial. Okay, these are the two the consuls of the Kingdom of Sardinia, where there were two parts of the Sardinian kingdom. The one part was in Piemonte, which is right up to the north. You know, the famous Barolo wine country, and then there's another part of it is down south in Sardinia. So at first the two parts were independent, but later they merged and becomes the Kingdom of Sardinia. But that's history. I mean, it's quite complex, and you're welcome to look it up in the history books or Wikipedia. Okay. Anyhow, so this is actually the map of the Sardinia. So you see the Kingdom of Sardinia.
Not recently.
Yeah. You've been there. Okay. So and then this is actually Sardinia itself, but later on it becomes absorbed into the kingdom. So you get various places in Italy in those times. You get the Papal States, Rome, and then you get the Tuscany, and then there's one place, and then of course the Lombardy, Venetia, the various kingdoms and Sicilies, and before they become united into to Italy itself, like nowadays. Okay, so this is the letter itself. I'm just going to put it there because I don't know whether maybe Philippe, can you read the Italian?
No, sorry, I cannot read it, and I cannot read Italian.
Okay. Well, maybe somebody, I'm going to leave it there for a few seconds, and maybe somebody could read Italian. Could say what I think roughly. I mean, I could pick up a few words. I think it's about somebody in Hong Kong talking about the Italian missions.
You see, you can translate them with Google now.
Yeah.
And they have improved considerably their AI.
Yeah.
And
it's
you
just a script.
your camera and you follow it, and
Okay.
it's going to translate it directly on your phone.
Okay. I can recognize a few words. I think it's mainly it's about this person in Hong Kong who wrote back to the council and reporting on what happened there and something about the missions and things like that. Anyway, okay, so right. So what is the rate? The rate is quite interesting. The rate is actually 2 shillings 3 penny. But if you look up the rate, actually the first rate of Hong Kong, which was published in the Hong Kong Gazette, the FOC, Friends of China Hong Kong Gazette, effective on the 10th of April, 1844, has no mentioning of Egypt at all. So there were rates to France, there were rates to various countries. Maybe in West Indies and South America, but there's no mentioning of any of Egypt or as a matter of fact, also Malta. But okay, but after the extension of P&O service to Hong Kong in September 1845, apparently the Hong Kong Post Office actually published some new rates in December 1845, according to Scamp. I mean, but maybe that was actually published in China Mail. But as I don't have a copy of the China Mail in 1846, I think it must have been published in maybe 1846 or something like that, January 1846. I can't confirm that, but he's actually saying that the new rate that the Hong Kong Post Office list actually said that for a letter above quarter ounce and under half an ounce to Malta and Alexandria, it was 2 shillings and 3 penny. So that is quite interesting, because later on, as you know, that if you look at at least up to 1848 or 49, and the rate had already become 1 shilling to Alexandria. So this must be a rather short-lasting rate at that time in 1846. But as I don't have the papers of 1845 or 46 or 47, I couldn't confirm when the rate was reduced. Anyway, so that's a. Before I go on to the next item, do you have any queries or any questions about this one? As a matter of fact, the actual letters to Alexandria are not, to Egypt are not too common. I can record about maybe this is the second letter going to Alexandria itself. It stops at Alexandria, and a lot, of course, most of the letters would pass through Alexandria as close mail, because because as you know, the P&O actually stopped at Suez. And then first, at that time, it would be by a camel train, and then the camel route. And then later on, when they built the railway, they went on the railway to the Alexandria and then changed ship into the Mediterranean. So Alexandria is a very, very, it basically is like a crossroad. But most of the mail would be in a sealed box. So that it's not that many actually ended up in Alexandria. But if you have one or have seen one, please let me know. I think this is the second one. There's another one actually going. I think it was the letter was from Fred Steuben. I think it's a letter to Edmund Leon, something to Greece or something like that. There's another one, but that was later. There's not as early as this. There was about 1849 or something. But the rate, well, that letter, it has a medium, I think a medium crown paid at Hong Kong circle, and it was rated 1 shilling only. So the rate, there must be the rate change around at the time. Maybe Richard. I mean, Richard's not here. He sends his apologies. You could look it up and then let us know. Right. So okay. No more questions. I go on to the next item. This is actually from John Tang. Now he has this letter from Akron in Ohio to Hong Kong. Care of American Express Company, and it's got various American Express company private arrival shops on, and obviously they couldn't find this guy. Maybe it's, as you know, this is the same name. Okay, so Dr. Hazel and then E.J. Hazel, E.J. Small Jr. Okay, Smale Jr. Okay, so maybe they're related. I don't know. Anyway, so it was actually returned to the USA later. So John actually wants to know whether the box on the front with a signature, is this a Hong Kong mark or a US mark? Well, obviously the unclaimed, non-reclaimed on the back, these are the Hong Kong marks. And the inking is the same as the Hong Kong stamps, and this is in a different inking. Okay, so have you seen the retool? I'm pretty sure it's the Hong Kong mark. So have you seen this mark before?
Andrew, could it be actually the American Express office in Hong Kong that supplied it and then initialed it? But it might not be a post office marking at all.
Yes.
It doesn't look like a Hong Kong one.
Yes. Yes. It's quite interesting. Yeah. There's the thing is the signature here, which seems quite.
Yeah.
Yeah. You seldom actually see a signature on these instructional mark, right? Yeah. Obviously, you can see the pointing finger. That's an American mark for sure.
That's American, yeah.
Yeah, the pointing finger. Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, I've never seen this mark before, so it could be just a American Express company private mark. Okay, good. Any idea, Susan? Any idea?
No, I mean, I haven't seen that before.
No.
But the signature makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody got any comment on this one? No. Okay. Well, anyway, you could find another one proving either way, whether it's an official mark or maybe you can find this mark on another cover, a non-American Express cover. Yes, it seems quite yeah. All right. Okay. So right, we move on to the next items. What are these? You've seen this before, right? Never. You never know. Okay, these were things like I don't know what you call them, but obviously they are just from the back of the lorry. Obviously, this is the Chinese lantern set, a print issued in 1984 and printed by Carter of France, and then you can see the stamps. I showed them on the front. There are 4 stamps. These are all 4. But interesting thing is they are actually you can't they're not I don't think they're errors at all, because I mean you can see that if they were errors, then there should be a stamp adjacent to this. I mean it's actually from a printed sheet of stamps. I mean you won't see so many blank spaces and all these crosses, these alignment crosses. So what are they? I mean are these actually well, these are called a perforator. I just wonder whether these perforated things were used to invalidate these kind of, maybe they are a printer's trial or whatever. But certainly from the trash can, they were liberated from the trash can of Carter, for sure.
Yeah, I have some answers because these are actually in my possession.
Oh, is it? Right.
And I bought them from France.
You bought them from France? Okay.
Yeah. I think they were smuggled out.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, you can see a crease.
Yeah. But they got gum on it. They're not fakes or anything.
No, they're real. But that perforation is wrong for that set.
Mm-hmm.
And they were sold as final printers trials. There were 2 sets. The set I bought plus one other that turned up at HKPNC in Hong Kong last year, I think.
Yeah.
And the other set, they were at one point all joined together in a row.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, you can.
Yes, quite an interesting curiosity. But yes, my conclusion was also that they'd been smuggled out.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they originally they were not actually perforated.
Well, this perforation is the wrong perforation for the stamp.
Oh, for the stamp. So the perforation was actually added later on.
Well, the perforations are, I don't know, I can't remember what they are, but they're per 14 and they should be 15 or something like that.
Ah, okay. So I mean, obviously the original,
the wrong size of perforation.
Yeah, the original stamp would have no perforation whatsoever. Obviously, it's just a printed.
Yeah, these have been put through to cancel them, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
A final printer's trial.
The final printer's trial. Yeah, but they were scrapped, obviously.
Yes. Well, they should have been scrapped.
Should have been scrapped, and somebody liberated from the.
Someone liberated 2 sets.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. yeah. Right.
But a nice curiosity to
Nice curiosity. Yeah.
liven up the collection.
That's right. And probably the thematic people would use it as they call it an error in the maybe exhibit or something too. You know, if you collect say butterfly or something, you know, that the $1.30 would be quite interesting to put in your exhibit.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. All right. Okay. These wow. Okay. It's also found on eBay. Right, it is described by the seller as the 1937 Hong Kong King George VI $300 issue stamp duty. It says proof on plain white gum paper. Okay, it was fully rejected because of design card, blah, blah, blah. And the retail at £1,107. Okay, it doesn't matter, and sold at this, as is. I don't know how much these were sold eventually, but do you have any ideas what they are? No? Have you seen them before? This is the same also from the King George V.
Yeah, those things have been on eBay for quite some time, for years now. It has been all sets of those. It's a fantasy things, which has been created by a forger some time ago. And there are many of those, and there's that junk, that sheer junk.
Okay. Well, it shows that Philippe has been looking through eBay for some time. Okay, yeah, Philippe is completely correct. I mean, these things actually not only they exist in singles, they could exist in blocks and I'm pretty sure that these are just a modern reprint and or fantasy. I think it's not even forgery. I think you call them the fantasy issues.
Yeah.
They've got full white gum, and they were not probably. I haven't bought one actually. I mean, you know, I don't want to waste any money buying them, but I think they probably printed in litho or something, and not actually. Obviously, these are printed by recess printing. But you know, if you see if you blow it up, I mean, okay, you can't see from the scan. But I think if you purchase a copy, probably only a few dollars each, and then you'll be amazed that they actually use just modern printing method to print them. I mean, as Philippe have said, they're not only Hong Kong, the printer had produced, there's all kinds of rare stamps as well. That they print is more like some modern forgery, something like that. You know, modern forgeries. Okay. Okay. So, okay. I think that's all from me. Right. So, yeah. See, this is the original set of the lanterns. Right. Yeah. Good. So. Anybody got anything you want to tell us? Want to share? Good. Right. Anyway, I want to talk about the journal. The last journal was very well produced. The journal, I mean, the journal 411 by Joe. I mean, it was very rich in content, and many there were many articles, short articles, but they aroused a lot of interest. And you know, I have received several emails from various members to say how good it is to have a journal like that, and you know, so little snippets of information, interesting items like you know, Simon, he's not here. Well, he was here. I think he left. I mean, he showed some interesting covers like was it Sam Triple Hong Kong, something like that. Something that he in his collection, and yeah, various pieces. Of course, Richard, as usual, a contributor. But I think, you know, this is the right way to go about writing a journal, instead of somebody actually writing 20 pages of a journal of well-researched subject, which I mean, of course, if you're interested, it's great, but if you're not so interested in that particular subject, you might find it a little bit boring. But anyhow, the last one was I really enjoyed reading it, and I hope that everybody could keep it up. And if you even have a few things that you want to share, you can actually just write it down and send it to Joe for publishing in the journal. Right? Okay. All right. So anything else from anybody? Anything you want to say?
No.
Okay, so in that case, we have a short meeting this month, and oh, by the way, I have apologies from Richard, and I've got apologies from Neil Granger, and also Sarah Harvey from Australia as well, and yeah. So, well, it's great. It's great to see you all, and maybe
you.
we have we can now finish, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Okay, we have another meeting next month. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
thanks
Bye.
very much for
Bye.
joining,
Bye.
and
Thank you. Bye.
have a nice day. All right. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Keep safe, especially from the cold and during the
Yeah.
springtime. You have lots of problems with viruses. We have an outbreak of flu, of course, in Hong Kong, and lots of people fall ill with colds and coughs. And as I think most of us are of a certain age, and then we are, well, our body are a little bit less resistant to all these bugs. So take care.
That's right.
Okay, anyway, all
Bye.
right, have a nice day, and it's goodbye from me.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
And you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
bye.
Take it.
Bye.